Talking about the Scrum framework is more of a lightweight framework that aligns or help people, teams, and organization to generate value, and it helps them to be generating value throughout the adaptive solution for the complex problem. So it is a framework which can be repeated, which can be adaptive in nature for sure. So if you see, there are three main events which are there, or the three main elements which are there in Scrum. So we will discuss about the Scrum teams, we will discuss about the events, and we will also discuss about the overall artifacts. So if you see the Scrum team have in principle three main roles. The first and foremost role is the product owner role. So a product owner is uh, the most important role in the Scrum team. So he is responsible for delivering the value in the Scrum. He is responsible for ensuring that user stories get delivered by development team or developers, and he is the one who ensure the overall aspects of Scrum is on track in terms of value. So that's in a nutshell about the uh, product owner. About the Scrum Master is a role who is serving the Scrum. So he act as a leader who serves the Scrum, and he ensures all the ceremonies of Scrum and processes are being followed across. A developer, again, is a set of people who basically are cross-functional and self-managing people. So they are responsible for carrying out the development task, and they are also responsible for ensuring the overall quality and testing elements of uh, Scrum as well. So these are the three main roles which are there in the Scrum team, responsible for ensuring the value delivery of the Scrum. Now talking about the overall events, if you see the Scrum have multiple events, and the events which are there in the in Scrum, you can always consider these as a part of the sprint. For most important events which we say are listed below. So we have, say, the sprint planning event, we have sprint execution. So sprint execution is not a formal event, but then we consider the whole sprint as a part of the sprint execution exercise. So sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective, they are the formal events which are there as a part of the sprint. Also, in addition to that, there is a non-formal event called the product backlog refinement event. So in that product backlog refinement event, it is a responsibility of the product owner and the development team to prioritize all the user stories based on the latest requirements which has been received by the business, by the customers or stakeholders. So your refinement of the Scrum or the refinement of the uh, user stories has to be done on a recurring basis. So there is a underlying rule that not more than 10% of the development team efforts can be utilized for the product backlog refinement. So product backlog refinement is an ongoing event wherein the product owner along with the development team work together to ensure these requirements are refined, further broken down, and being worked upon. And as a part of the sprint, which is iterative in nature, or which is repeatable in nature, so it basically starts with the sprint planning meeting. So in the sprint planning meeting, the overall uh, items from the product backlog are pulled across. So the identified or the prioritized list of the user stories which has to be worked upon in that sprint get pulled into the product backlog, from the product backlog to that respective sprint backlog. And in the sprint planning meeting, those prioritization for the backlog item happens as part of the sprint planning meeting. So sprint execution, as we call, is not a formal event, but then that's the overall overall time period which a team or development team passes through as a part of being there in a sprint. So the sprint execution, if you say, generally is there for 2 to 4 weeks. That's how the overall duration of sprint, we call that as a sprint execution. So daily scrum, as we call, is an important ceremony where the development team, along with the product owner and facilitated by the scrum master, they discuss the overall progress and they see if there are any kind of impediments being there. So there is a this ceremony is again a time box ceremony of not more than 15 minutes on daily basis, where important questions being asked, what has been done in last 24 hours, what plan you or what do you plan to complete in next 24 hours, and are there any kind of impediments which has to be removed. So that these are the three questions which get discussed in daily scrum stand-up call, and this meeting is a time box at 15 minutes. So sprint review, as we call, is again a time box meeting where the product owner showcases along with our development team and the sprint team to ensure what has been delivered or what user stories has been completed during the whole sprint. So sprint review is basically ensuring all the stakeholders or the customer representatives, they go through or they get the real-time view of the user stories which has been completely done and being formally accepted as a part of definition of done. So sprint review is a formal event for showcasing the work packages being completed during the sprint.